Violet's eyes darted around the room, her heart hammering like it had just minutes ago while she ran from the wolves. The darkness seemed almost alive, but maybe that was just her freaked-out brain. Still, she was frozen in fear. Her roommates were out cold in their beds, totally undisturbed, but her gut screamed that someone else was there. Gulping, Violet took another cautious step, her eyes glued to the darkest corner of the room. "Who's there?" she whispered, trying to sound brave. Nothing. Just suffocating silence and the frantic thump, thump, thumping of her heart. With trembling fingers, Violet fumbled for the lamp switch on her nightstand. The light flickered on, casting a soft glow. And there he was. Asher Nightshade, the alpha of chaos, was sitting casually in her desk chair like he owned the place. His long legs were stretched out, arms crossed lazily over his chest. Those piercing gray eyes, with their creepy slits, glinted in the lamplight, pinning her in place. He looked totally relaxed, but the intensity in his gaze made her blood run cold. "Seriously? Welcome back, little purple queen," he drawled, his voice low and mocking. "How was your jog? Have a nice time?" A smirk played on his lips, making Violet's stomach churn. She froze, her heart dropping like a stone. How long had he been there, just waiting, watching? Asher must have been watching her the entire time she came in. There was no way she would have missed those eyes. They practically glowed in the dark. He must have done it on purpose, letting her walk into the trap so she couldn't bolt again. Asher's eyes raked over her, and Violet felt totally exposed. Her damp hair clung to her face, and her clothes were still messed up from her escape attempt. "In those clothes," he continued. "Not exactly workout gear, are they? Especially that bag. If I didn't know any better, I'd say someone was trying to make a run for it." Ice shot through Violet's veins. He knew, and he was messing with her. Violet whirled around or tried to. Asher must have seen it in her eyes because right then, he commanded, "Don't run!" The words hit Violet like a physical blow. Her muscles locked up, her legs refusing to obey. No matter how badly she wanted to get out of there. Panic swelled inside her. Asher had completely ruined her plan, but not all of it. Surely he couldn't hurt her right here with her roommates so close. Guided by the dim lamplight, Violet rushed to Alice's bed, shaking her friend urgently. "Alice, wake up!" she hissed. But Alice didn't budge. She was out cold, breathing evenly, looking totally peaceful. A disturbing thought flickered in Violet's mind, but she shoved it away. No, that couldn't be it. Maybe Alice was just a heavy sleeper. Anxiety churning in her stomach, Violet moved to Hazel's bed, shaking her hard. "Hazel, come on, wake up!" But Hazel remained motionless, her breathing slow and steady. Violet refused to give up. She couldn't. Giving up meant admitting defeat to Asher, and that wasn't happening. He didn't control her. She controlled her own destiny. Finally, Violet reached Lily's bed, desperate now. "Lily, please, wake up!" She shook her friend with all her might, but Lily too was unresponsive, as if in a deep, unbreakable sleep. Violet stormed over to Asher, her hand shooting out before she could stop herself. The sound echoed in the room. "What the heck did you do to them?" she yelled, her voice trembling with fury. "Don't tell me you hurt them, you—" Asher's head snapped to the side from the force of the slap. For a moment, he froze, touching his cheek as if shocked she'd actually dared to hit him. Then, he slowly turned back to her, his expression unreadable. Violet knew she was in deep trouble, but she didn't care. Nobody messed with her friends and got away with it. "You think I hurt them?" he asked, his voice sounding almost hurt. Violet was taken aback. She hadn't thought. She just reacted to what she saw. Asher continued when she didn't answer. "Why would I hurt them? They're your friends." Just when Violet started to feel guilty, a dark smile spread across Asher's face, sending chills down her spine. Although, he added, "I did slip into their minds and told them not to wake up, no matter what they heard." "Don't tell me you haven't figured it out yet," he whispered, his voice laced with menace. "Figure out what?" Violet asked nervously, her pulse hammering. Asher's grin widened, his eyes sparkling with wicked amusement. "How I got into your head that day," he said. The blood drained from Violet's face as the realization hit her. She'd replayed that day 1,000,000 times and nothing had added up. But now, finally, The pieces clicked into place. I was here that day, Asher said simply, gesturing around her room. Unlike your roommates, you have better instincts. You sensed me right away, and your eyes popped open. That's when I got into your head. He looked directly into her eyes. All those times we were talking, I was right beside your bed, watching you, little purple. Violet froze, still as a statue. She didn't react, not even when Asher closed the distance between them as he finished his confession. When I was done, I made you forget, just like I stole a lock of your hair. He grinned proudly as he pulled the braid of purple hair from his pocket, flaunting it like a good luck charm before tucking it away again. But don't worry, I don't need to sneak into your room to summon you like the first time. I'm already in your head, deeper than you can imagine. His words were so chilling, so ominous, that Violet knew she was trapped. She couldn't even move as he stepped closer, his voice dropping to a sinister whisper. But enough about the past. Now it's time to punish you for being such a naughty little queen, isn't it? Punish me? Violet asked nervously, trying to sound brave. Of course, my purple queen, Asher replied smoothly. He reached out and ran his hand through her hair. You tried to run away from me, Violet. What kind of queen runs from her king? A king who's a manipulative, psychopathic... She hissed, her golden eyes flashing. And I've told you 1,000,000 times, I'm not your queen. Stop calling me that. Asher leaned in close, his breath warm against her ear. I told you, little purple, you're mine. Violet's heart hammered in her chest, but she refused to back down. I'm not yours. I'm not some possession. I'm a person. And if I were to belong to anyone, you'd be the last person I'd choose. Her words were brave, but Violet knew provoking him was risky. Asher smirked, clearly noticing her reaction. Don't worry, little queen, he said, his voice a teasing purr. We'll see how long you hold on to those tough words after I'm done with you. Violet's defiance wavered, replaced by a sudden fear. What are you going to do to me? She whispered. Something you're not going to hate. Violet swallowed, wondering what he meant by that. Before she could ask, Asher stepped back, sitting down casually at the foot of her bed, like he owned the place. He looked relaxed, but his eyes burned with intensity. She could feel Asher's eyes on her, his gray eyes like a predator's. So Violet decided to change his game. She slammed her eyes shut. Asher's powers only worked when he could see his victim's eyes. If he wanted to control her again, he'd have to make her open them. What are you doing? He asked, surprised. Violet didn't move a muscle. What do you think I'm doing? Might as well be blind if I have to keep my eyes open for you, she snapped. And why would I do that, my purple queen? Asher's voice was suddenly right next to her ear, so close she felt his breath on her skin. Violet gasped. She hadn't even heard him move. How did he get behind her so fast? Still, no matter how curious she was to see what he was up to, she kept her eyes shut tight. You think I'm going to hurt my queen? His tone was laced with disbelief, but there was a dangerous edge to it that made her stomach churn. What are you doing? Violet asked, her voice shaking even though she tried to sound tough. Her heart pounded in her ears. She couldn't predict him, couldn't guess what he'd do next. He was like a ghost, moving so silently that it freaked her out. Why don't you open your eyes and find out, my purple queen? He taunted, his smooth voice now coming from her left. The urge to open her eyes was almost unbearable. It was like a little voice whispering in her ear, tempting her to peek. But Violet wasn't stupid. This was exactly what he wanted. But she wasn't about to let him win that easily.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.